Ahead of today's FIFA World Cup draw that saw South Africa named in Group A alongside Mexico and South Korea, FIFA President Gianni Infantino also named the leader of co-host the United States President Donald Trump as the inaugural winner of the FIFA Peace Prize. Well, this is how the moment played out at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. earlier on today.
The FIFA Peace Prize is presented annually on behalf of the billions of football-loving people from around the world to a distinguished individual who exemplifies an unwavering commitment to advancing peace and unity throughout the world through their notable leadership and action. And therefore, FIFA, the Fédération Internationale de Football Association, awards the 2025 FIFA Peace Prize. Football Unites the World, to Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, in recognition of his exceptional and extraordinary actions to promote peace and unity around the world. Friday, December 5th, 2025. This is the certificate. It's yours.
Well, thank you very much. This is truly one of the great honors of my life. And beyond awards, Johnny and I were discussing this. We saved millions and millions of lives. The Congo, as an example, over 10 million people killed, and it was heading for another 10 million very quickly. And it just, you know, the fact that we could do that, India, Pakistan, so many different wars that we're able to end, in some cases a little bit before they started, just right before they started. It was going to be late, but we got them done, and it's such an honor to be with Johnny. I just want to thank everybody. The world is a safer place now. The United States 1 year ago was not doing too well, and now I have to say we're the hottest country anywhere in the world, and we're going to keep it that way. Thank you all. Thank you. Have a great time. And Johnny, a tremendous honor. Thank you.
Well, joining us for more is SABC News correspondent in the United States, Sherwin Bryce-Pease. Sherwin, a very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us, and a warm welcome to the late edition. First of all, was that tongue-in-cheek? I mean, when the FIFA president announced Donald Trump as a recipient of the inaugural Peace Prize, did you sense applause, awkward silence, disbelief, tongue-in-cheek in the hall?
Maybe everything above, Simpiwe. Listen, when this was announced about a month ago by Gianni Infantino, no one had heard about the FIFA prize before, not the board of FIFA, not the staff of FIFA. And one imagines that this was done as some sort of a consolation prize for President Donald Trump, of course, not winning the Nobel Peace Prize in October. That is something he had been campaigning for. We still don't know what the criteria was, except kind of the statement made by Infantino in terms of, a person that, a distinguished individual who exemplifies an unwavering commitment to advancing peace and unity throughout the world. We also understand that going forward, the process and criteria for the annual awarding of the FIFA Peace Prize will be made clearer. But it does seem to be an effort by the FIFA president to ingratiate himself with the US president, of course, playing a key role in terms of co-hosting the FIFA World Cup, the prestigious soccer event that will be held in the United States and co-hosted by Canada and Mexico. Of course, the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, and Claudia Sheinbaum, the Mexican president, also in the room when that award was made to Donald Trump. He received a gold medal, a gold trophy, and a certificate from the FIFA president.
And it's a bit unusual, I mean, to have a World Cup draw and a major political award announcement at the same event. Did that feel like mixing sport and politics and a spectacle, perhaps? I mean, in a good way or in a slightly chaotic way?
Which is also something, I mean, you make a good point, right? It's something the sports federations, these global sports federations, the Olympic Committee, organizations such as Simpiwe seek to sort of stay clear of the political aspects of these sporting arrangements. But we see FIFA now inserting itself here in terms of awarding this Peace Prize. And look, the President of the United States, the US government, has been engaged in peace efforts. You see them doing shuttle diplomacy currently in terms of ending the war in Ukraine. We've seen the ceasefire that Donald Trump's leadership and his board of peace has infused in the Gaza and Middle East situation. He has also mentioned the conflicts between Pakistan and India, which he touts as having been resolved by the United States, Cambodia and Thailand, the DRC and Rwanda, of course, the presidents of the DRC, Felix Tshisekedi, and Rwanda, President Paul Kagame, signing a peace treaty under the auspices of the United States at the newly named Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace in Washington, D.C. yesterday. I mentioned the ceasefire in Gaza. There are now efforts by the United States to bring peace to the largest humanitarian crisis that is Sudan. He talked about peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan, Serbia and Kosovo, Ethiopia. But of course, you know, while you're chewing gum, you also have to understand that the President of the United States has escalated military tensions in the Caribbean, in the Latin America region, particularly with an eye on drug cartels in Venezuela. This is now the subject of congressional investigations. And so there seems to be an escalation, a sort of war escalation by the United States in that region. And so both things are true here, Peace Prize on the one hand and possible conflict in Venezuela on the other.
And from your vantage point, Sherwin, did the Peace Prize overshadow the draw, or did both announcements get equal attention?
Well, what are South Africans watching? Are they more interested in the Peace Prize, or whether South Africa will be able to beat Mexico or South Korea in Group A? I mean, let's test the theory with nations around the world. Look, the FIFA World Cup is going to be the spectacle. I don't think the focus is going to be on this Peace Prize. It is a sidebar. It is done and dusted. And now I think the focus is going to be on putting on an exceptional tournament here in the United States, and hopefully a Bafana victory here that could make history, given the current political tensions between Pretoria and Washington.
You're quite right there. I mean, South Africans are more inclined into hearing which group South Africa will end. I mean, South Africa ends up in a group with Mexico and South Korea. Just how encouraging is it that Bafana's World Cup campaign starts off on such a footing?
Look, it's been a while since Bafana has qualified, using their own skill on the field to qualify for a FIFA World Cup. And so that in and of itself is a little bit of a history-making moment, the trajectory in terms of South African sports teams. If you look at our cricketers, if you look at our rugby team under Rassie Erasmus and now Bafana, the trajectory here, even the economy in South Africa is turning the corner, Simpiwe. So things certainly looking up. The G20 was a success, but don't, separate the diplomatic persuasions and complications that has framed the South Africa-US relationship in terms of what Bafana can do in terms of this FIFA World Cup next year. There will be a little pressure on them to represent the country really well, given the dynamics. And wouldn't it be some sort of satisfaction with the President of the United States to hand that FIFA World Cup trophy to none other than the captain of South Africa's soccer team? Wouldn't that just be beautiful justice?
Gosh, I would imagine the kind of satisfaction that President Donald Trump would have, and the sort of gratification that he possibly might have. But I want us to push the envelope a little further with regards to how the decision to award President Donald Trump a Peace Prize at the FIFA World Cup draw affects the perception of the World Cup 2026. I mean, especially in countries that see the United States as controversial.
Look, we don't know what the criteria was here. You know, if you think about the Nobel Peace Prize, there's a long-standing history. One understands the criteria. The fact that Donald Trump was not awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in terms of some of the accomplishments that he has touted himself is due to the fact that FIFA hands the Nobel Peace Prize in retrospect. They don't do it for the current year, but they do it for, achievements in the year prior. And so he might very well still be in the running for the Nobel Peace Prize were that a moment to come next year. But as we have been explaining, there has been no criteria laid out. It seems to have been announced by the FIFA president. He seems to have a very close relationship with President Donald Trump. He has been to many, many Oval Office visits with President Trump. They seem to have a real bond here. And the FIFA president has articulated that it is very important to have the intervention and the weighing in of the President of the United States, given that the United States will be hosting the majority of the games. I think it's 11 out of 16 cities between the three countries that are hosting that will be hosted in the United States. So the US will play a very important role. There seems to be a very good relationship between the FIFA president and the US president, and that augurs well for the success of the relationship. Whether it casts a shadow over the tournament remains to be seen. I doubt it. I think soon enough the focus will very much be on what happens on the pitch.
All right, Sherwin, as a wrap, I mean, if you were wearing your fan hat instead of a journalist hat, what were you hoping for from South Africa when the tournament eventually kicks off?
Well, I mean, given the experience we have in terms of successive world championships in the rugby arena, I'm very confident that Bafana can pull a surprise.
All right, absolutely. Sherwin, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, that was SABC News correspondent in Washington, Sherwin Bryce-Pease, speaking to us live, well, just after the FIFA World Cup draw.